Information, inspiration, motivation. You are now listening to the Going North podcast, where you're going to get all three of those things and more. I'm your host, author, speaker, and book enthusiast, Dom Brightman. And every week, we're going to be hearing from an author who's going to share their expertise to help you charge forward in life. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, we bring you some awesome humans from around the globe doing extraordinary things. Today is no different because today we have an international self-awareness coach, teacher, and speaker. This wonderful lady right here, she's taught hundreds of thousands of people in more than 35 countries the power of meditation, mindfulness, breath work, and other ancient tools for assessing the innate source of energy, creativity, and fulfillment within. This wonderful lady right here was born in Uganda and was raised between rural India and New York City. She has been working as a prosecutor for the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office. And when a chance meeting with the renowned spiritual master Sri Ravi Shankar changed her life, she left the practice of criminal law to explore the power of universal laws. Since then, over the last 3 decades, man, she doesn't look it, she has established more than 600 meditation centers and trained thousands of instructors with the art of living, helping to expand the self-development and humanitarian organization into a global non-profit. And through her unique blend of intuition, humor, and ancient techniques, she has guided government leaders, families, Oscar-winning filmmakers, Fortune 500 executives, and individuals from all walks of life in understanding how the mind works, how to let go of stress, and how to be more resilient and fulfilled in their personal and professional lives. She has given talks and led programs at organizations including NBC Universal, IBM, LinkedIn, Gap, the World Bank, Shell Oil, Morgan Stanley, Harvard University, IIT, and the United Nations, UNESCO, and more. And for those who have not been living under 10 rocks, you probably know who I'm talking about. It's the one and only RP herself, Ms. Rajshree Patel. How are you today, ma'am?
I'm so well. Thank you. That's such an introduction. So very kind of you. Happy to be here with you.
Oh, yeah, it's happy time indeed. Get to have you on and talk about the wonderful things that brought you to this point. And heck, you even got a new book coming out in the very, very near future.
I do. October 1st, The Power of Vital Force. It's all about energy and how it impacts everything we want, from happiness to success.
Oh, yeah, from happiness to success indeed. Well, as with all introductions, they're not allowed to be 20,000 hours long, so mind filling in some gaps and fill in some blanks where we may have missed some things, and tell us what led you to want to finally join the business of immortality known as authorship?
So, it's as you said a little bit earlier, it was the universe, I think, interfering. I was living in Los Angeles as a prosecutor, thinking I'm going to a music concert, and it was nothing more than just simply, okay, I go to a music concert, perhaps I meet somebody. My parents were on my case, get married, come on, settle down, you need to get married. And so I thought, all right, it's a good way to meet somebody. And thinking I'm going to a sitar concert. There's a famous sitarist. He passed away, actually. His name is Ravi Shankar. It's a very common name in India. And I just didn't know better. I just looked at the name and kind of showed up. And only after arriving at the event, I realized, oh, wow, this is really more about spirituality, self-awareness, and connecting with the higher essence of ourself. And I was curious. It's I'm sure you agree, it's one of the biggest and the best gift we could have in our life is to remain curious and open. And oftentimes the world, the universe, guides us to our higher good in many ways if we just get out of the way. And that moment was my moment where I got out of my way and I thought, okay, I'm here. Let me stay. Let's see what happens. And to my surprise, I went through very simple tools and techniques, a course, 9 hours, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I discovered that when I arrived at the office on Monday, my efficiency, what I was achieving, had skyrocketed. What used to take me 4 hours to do, I would finish in 1 hour. Moved beyond that into a state of feeling really just connected with people, happy. I was able to finish my work by 3 o'clock instead of dragging it out to 7 o'clock. My sleep had changed. I noticed that I was just generally a lot more optimistic, a lot more connected, a lot more in touch with something more than the yada, yada, yada that goes on in our mind all day long about every tiny thing to every big thing. And so that started my journey. 6 months later, I was done with criminal law. Can you imagine fighting to, prosecute and sitting there presenting evidence that does whatever it does for a person and their freedom and the witnesses? It's such a complex situation, to moving on to inner freedom and how do we really, as humanity, connect and make a bigger difference. So since then, I've just been on the road, coming in front of thousands of people and really just sharing myself and the wisdom and the tools that are time-tested, really over 5,000 years old. So really proven results for what it can do. And as a result, this book came out, The Power of Vital Force.
Yeah, what a transformation indeed. Cut down a 4-hour process down to 1 hour. That's what I'm talking about.
Everybody wants more time, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we all got the same amount of time to manage it, but it's like at the same time, certain things, if you're, I guess in a way, if you don't have your mindset right on what to do, or depending on what type of work you do, it could take an extremely long amount of time.
Yeah, well, most people are in their head more they're in action. You know what I mean? There's a lot more time that goes into should I, how should I, when should I, why should I. All that conversation in the head eats up not just time, but our energy and our enthusiasm. And really, it's something that nobody teaches us, to how to get out of our head and how to mobilize our energy and our enthusiasm to get into action and to do what we want instead of sitting there thinking about what we want. And now with internet, we spend a lot of time researching what we want, which is just loud thinking. It's just another way of thinking.
You definitely could say that one again, and heck, even listen to one of your past interviews and kind of allude to the fact that thinking is beyond just a bulb on the top of our bodies. It's not just on our bodies, but it's like really all that's around us.
Well, it's true. It's funny. I read somewhere, I think it was Deepak Chopra, who gave this research finding that somewhere between 60 and 80,000 thoughts is what people have in waking hours. That's a book in itself. Can you imagine? Every day we're writing a book, meaning we're thinking that much. 60,000 thoughts is a lot. 80,000 thoughts is a lot. And the problem is we ourselves aren't paying attention to those thoughts. How many do we really remember? At the end of a day, if someone says, okay, write down the thoughts you had yesterday, we barely remember 5, 10, 15 thoughts. They're always the same thoughts.
Yep.
And we spin in circles with those same bunch of thoughts, and somehow we do it again the next day. And that's exhausting. That tires our whole mind, body, everything. Our outlook changes emotionally. We don't feel as positive, and we kind of feel like, okay, what is the point? I'm just going through the motions of things. And Before you know it, 80 years has passed, and what did you do? Well, I thought about what I should do, and I didn't actually do it. What's the point?
Definitely no point at all.
No. So I think it's really, we lack education. In India, it's a interesting conversation. It's also disappearing there. We would simultaneously go to two schools. You had your basic reading, writing, and arithmetic, which is, the British system of education, stuff information in your head. And then there was also kind of the soulful education, really knowing how to be happy, how to share and connect with people, how to connect to something higher than what we see, touch, and feel in front of us, and really knowing what to do with this crazy thing called the monkey mind, which is all over the place. Even when we're supposed to be sleeping, I'm sure you've heard people say, I slept all night, but I don't feel like I was sleeping. In fact, I feel like I was thinking. How do you sleep?
Yep.
It's supposed to be a natural thing, right? As kids, we didn't struggle with how to sleep. Mom put us down. We slept. 20 minutes later, we come out roaring with energy and ready to go. Now, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours go by, and we drag ourselves out of bed and not jump out of bed. So there's something that needs to be said about handling our mind, our emotions, our thoughts, because it is the number one thing that's wiping us out. Everybody talks about better life, better performance, happiness, more love, more connection. Well, the basis of all of that, more life, means just a bit more energy in your day to get through the stuff that you have to do. If not, you spin in circles.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess in a way, almost hula hooping.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's a Ferris wheel, go around and around like a rat or a hamster in a cage. Those wheels, they just keep spinning in circles, and you're like, aren't you tired yet? Relax. And it's simple word, relax or pause, which is what, one of the tools I talk about, meaning meditation. Finding 2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes at night. No one can complain about time in that. Can change how you perceive things, your outlook, how you interact with people, how you bounce out of bed. It's just that simple. It needs a little time to learn it, but once you learn it, it's easy. By the way, for your audience, I just wanted to share something. If people go to my website, rajshreepatel.com, I'm going to be posting a 10-day energy challenge there, where people can just go through very, very simple tools and tips, 2 minutes, 3 minutes a day. At the end of 10 days, they'll see that they feel like they got off the Ferris wheel, stop hula hooping and get into doing something else. So I really invite people to go there. It's free. It won't take a lot of time. There's short videos, 2-3 minutes, 4 minutes sort of videos that say, okay, for today, just do this when you walk into the office, or for today, do this when you're getting ready to go to sleep, or as you're just about to sit down to eat. I think it's got a lot of value, and it can really help people.
Oh, yeah. A great value indeed. And heck, yeah, 2 minutes, 2 minutes to start off the day, 2 minutes to end off the day. Seems simple enough to me.
Well, yes, for sure. Do you have some sort of a practice you do for yourself?
Yep, usually when I wake up every morning, usually sit in the chair for at least a good 5 minutes and just let myself be, usually. And whatever thoughts may come, they just come, and then sometimes I acknowledge them, sometimes I just let them just appear.
Yeah, let them float by like the clouds in the sky, I guess, in a way. It's a simple thing. Most people don't give 5 minutes a day to themselves. And with all that we have to do, this is true for me, everything from family to parents to health, whatever it is that we have to do, it seems like that 5 minutes to sit and take for oneself is too much. I don't have time. But I've at least discovered, and I've seen it with thousands of people, those 5 minutes to regroup, recenter, set an intention for what your day is going to be, it's like buying back time. You become more efficient. That's, in fact, what happened for me, right? I started buying back time because instead of thinking and then rethinking and reanalyzing, I would just go through it and become more effective, more efficient, more productive, which in turn is a way to buy back time so that I can do a little bit more of what I want. Maybe spend more time with my family, go, walk, sit at a cafe, enjoy what matters to me, not just what I have to do. And I feel like that's what's happening more and more with technology, computers, cell phones. We're so hooked in that we basically get through the day with what we got to do and what we need to do, and we forget what we want to do. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, well, sometimes I like to jokingly call it the zombie apocalypse. It's already here because folks are always glued to the phones and the rest of the technology that they're not aware of anything else around them.
Yeah, it's a good one, zombie apocalypse. You'll see that dining tables, right? Have you seen these cartoons where a family is sitting around having dinner and everybody's on their cell phone, nobody's looking at each other, and then you find out they're just texting each other. Not even somebody who's not at the dining table.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're just texting each other. I tell you, my niece had a party at her home, and a bunch of friends were over, And what do you notice? They're all sitting around the living room. Everybody's on the cell phone. And so the mom said, listen, guys, why don't you share and talk and connect with each other? And one of them looked up and said, we are. That's who we're texting. They were on chat in front of each other in a slumber party talking through that machine. So we've forgotten how to be human in a certain way, the zombie effect.
Oh man, it's funny, but it's kind of like a shame too. Because I know I did that one time in computer class with a friend, jokingly, like through Facebook at one time years ago. But like at the same time, it's like in 2019, if you're face to face with someone, that's kind of like putting a middleman in your conversation that doesn't even need to be there.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. I don't know, are you much on social media and all those things? Unfortunately, I kind of have to, I think, because of the book, and I don't have anything against it, but I find people spend the whole day there. They're thinking they're connecting, but it's a bunch of pictures with a thumb up or a thumb down, and as a result, we're not connecting with each other, but I also think in some ways we stop connecting with ourselves. Like we don't know what we feel, we don't know what we're thinking, we don't know what's going on inside ourselves until it's sort of too late, where things have, reached over the top, and then we realize, wow, this is going on in my system or in my family or in my emotions. So, I think all this concern about artificial intelligence and robots taking over, I feel like in a way we are becoming more like robots than humans as we get more and more hooked into technology and social media and chatting through machines versus face-to-face.
Oh yeah, definitely. The robots are probably just waiting. It's like, all right, we got them. We got most of them. All right, we just need to get them distracted a little more, and then we'll make our own city over the rest of them.
How do you suggest it? You listen to so many amazing speakers. I'm sure they come on and they have all kinds of ideas. Is there something that struck you more than others?
Oh man, there's like a lot of them. There's like a lot of them. Let's see here. One of them was Veronica Kieran, probably like 50 or so episodes back. She mentioned how, and funny enough, she actually did a book called Stories of Elders, where she talks about how actually, funny enough, a lot of folks who are from the greatest generation, some of them may use technology better than folks nowadays. And she mentioned how one of the tips she gained was to do a technology holiday where you just basically give yourself a certain amount of time, like a day, a week, or something like that, away from like smartphones and things like that, to actually get yourself to notice things around you more, like nature, and heck, even just going outside and taking in the sunlight as opposed to that blue light, which ruins your
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a process of unplugging, right, from all the technology. It's one of the big things I talk about in the book. I give a lot of tools and tips in the book, very small, that help to unplug and reboot. It sounds contrary, right? But we do, in order to make sure our cell phones and our computers work properly, on a regular basis, we plug in. If the cell phone shows 10% low battery signal, we go frantic looking for a place to plug in the same way, our body, our mind, our emotions are like a hard drive or a computer. It does need to be plugged in on a regular basis. And some of the simplest ways to do that, and here's a tip I think that anybody could practice. I always say to people, first thing in the morning, as soon as you wake up, hit the snooze button if you need to, sit up and lean against your headboard, backboard if you want to, or lie on your back and do 10 long breaths in and out. And the reason is, as simple as it sounds, what we've heard, take a breath, has a very direct impact on rebooting our mind and our emotions energetically. It's how we can unplug our mind from what was going on in there. And I think a lot of people have this experience. As I mentioned earlier, they go to sleep and they feel like they were thinking all night, not really resting. They didn't get deep sleep. And that's because often we go to sleep thinking about the day, what should have happened, what could have happened, what didn't happen. And so we don't complete our sleep cycle. In the morning, we often wake up with something that was going in the subconscious, in the back of our head, that didn't get to complete. And what we know through science is if you can take 10 long breaths in and out, just easy, as long as you can breathe in and then release the breath, what we do is change our system, our body complex, from a stressful response to a more calm, more relaxed response. And to do the same thing when you go to bed. It's a simple tool. Anyone, again, can do it. You're lying in your bed. You're ready to sleep. And the last thing you do before bed is 10 long breaths in and out. Because what happens, how you get into sleep, determines the quality of your sleeping. And most people don't sleep by letting the day go, saying, I did the best I could. God bless, it's over. Tomorrow morning is a new day. I start fresh again. It's like having a new life, a new beginning. We don't do that. In fact, quite the opposite. It's like a Woody Allen in our head, going through all the neuroses of what you should have and what we could have and why we didn't and who did what. And that sort of complaining mind takes over. And if you sleep like that, we are opening a lot of apps, a lot of files in our hard drive. And that is exhausting us. That makes our day unpleasant and our sleep shallow. So I would really invite people to begin with to do just this simple thing. To your point, get up in the morning, maybe take 2, 3, 4 minutes for yourself. And in those 2, 3, 4 minutes, do long breath in and out, sit for a moment, and set an intention for the day. Whatever was yesterday is dead and gone. It's past. Today, I go out and make it a great day for myself. It's a new beginning.
Beautiful right there. Beautiful. Yes, indeed. Beautiful breathing. Beautiful breathing. And heck, the body will definitely love it too, because I remember, I think it was a few years ago when I was doing Taekwondo, or sometimes our instructor would end the class off with just making sure we just sit down, legs crossed, and just do some deep breathing. And man, I felt energized every time after those classes we did that. It was just such an amazing feeling.
It is. Actually, if you go to the gym, right, and you lift weights, one of the biggest things that a trainer will tell you is to breathe. It's part of the routine. The more weight you want to lift, the longer and deeper you want to breathe, because it gives you something in order to get through that push and pull around the weights. It's something we tell naturally. Like if our kids are freaking out, what do we just say? Just come on, relax, take a breath. There's a lot of science behind that simple, innocent sentence. It really directly changes how you think, how you feel, and how you act. But nobody's taught us that, and that's where this ancient wisdom from India comes in. That was their expertise, sort of the West discovered the light bulb and electricity outside. And I often say in the East, in the Far East, they discovered electricity, the inner light bulb. How do we remain happy with all that we have to do in the world? Both places are needed, the light outside and the light inside. And there are many ways to roam. This is a simple, easy way. And if you have a enthusiastic listener, then just don't do it in the morning and at bedtime, just before lunch. And when you sit down to eat, do 10 breaths, because there's a direct relationship between your gut, your digestion, and your mind and your outlook. It's a new science, a lot of conversations going on around gut biome, gut health, and how that determines everything from our physical health and wellness to our emotional regulation and calmness. So most people, they sit down to eat lunch with the same nonsense going on in the head. You do 10 breaths, your gut relaxes, your mind relaxes, and there's a virtuous cycle between the two, which allows better digestion, better health, better thinking. So that's another place that I invite all my listeners to say, hey, just doesn't cost you anything. Anyway, you have to breathe no matter what you're doing, so just do it consciously and make it longer. That's the simplest tool possible.
Yeah, and I think you said something very powerful, and that's conscious breathing. A lot of us, we're not breathing consciously. We're just doing it unconsciously because our bodies need to stay alive, but it's like conscious breathing that gives us that extra edge in a way.
That's right, 100%. To your point, breathing is automatic on whatever level, and it, maybe it's God's gift, because imagine if it was up to us to breathe in the chase for life and the mighty dollar, we'd forget to breathe also, which a lot of people do. When they're under stress, you see that they hold their stomach. They don't actually breathe, and that makes the stress that much more. We get more nerved up. The simple thing is, if you're under stress, don't stop breathing. In fact, do the opposite. Consciously make the breath longer. And the moment you breathe consciously, you change the game. You change the mind, you change how you perceive, and you regulate your emotion better.
Yes, indeed. And got to keep all of those regulated, so that way it can move even faster than ever. And more efficiently.
Yeah. Exactly. More efficiently. That's true. It needs to happen sooner or later. If not, my teacher says this in a very beautiful way. We spend half our health and half our life to earn wealth. And then we spend the second half of our life and half our wealth to regain our health. And it's so true. Like when we're young, we forget to take care of ourselves, and we keep going. You end up around 50, and then you got high blood pressure, and you can't sleep, and migraines, and all kinds of health challenges. And so then you spend the rest of the half going to the doctors here and there, doing what you can to regain what you had to begin with, and that's actually true even internally. When we're born, we're happy, accepting, loving people. Young kids up to a certain age are completely free and natural and accepting. And then, of course, it's necessary. The world teaches us what we have to, but then we lose our smile, what we came into the world with, and then we do everything we can to be happy, meaning to regain our smile. So the smarter thing might be to do both. Keep the smile and do what has to be done. Both could go simultaneously together.
Ah, there you go. Never lose the most powerful curve on any human, and that's the smile.
I like that. That's a good social media post. The most powerful curve.
That's right. That's right, indeed. No plastic surgery either.
No, no side effects, no craziness. Actually, but also, it makes you the most beautiful. If you want to add youth in your life, smile. Seriously, people look so much younger and vibrant and alive, and you want to be around them. A smile, you smile to the world smiles back at you. It's easy enough. There's another tip. Simple, easy. Anybody can do it for any reason, and there's no point. When things are going well, you smile. Well, that's not much of an accomplishment, right? Everything's going well. Obviously, you're going to smile, but when there's trouble, when it's challenging, and you could say, doesn't matter, I'm going to smile. It is a habit. I think you mentioned that a little earlier. It's a habit. Keep the smile. Anyway, it's not going to make anything worse, so smile. Actually, what happens is, number one, it takes the stress off, and it allows your central nervous system, your brain, to think better. And maybe you increase the chances of solving whatever's difficult rather than crunching all the muscles on the face and slowing down your thinking and processing. So I like it. The most powerful curve you have is your smile. Don't lose it.
That's right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's unisex. Don't have to worry about gender either.
No. You don't have to figure out what goes on an application form. It's clear. It's 100% clear. I'm going to post this one, okay? Most powerful curve, gender neutral.
Woohoo! Yes, indeed, definitely. But yes, it's a beautiful thing indeed. So the power of all these wonderful ancient tools of just taking a breath and doing 10 of them, and then being able to get to the point where you're able to coach others about self-awareness. So what's probably your method of like helping folks build that within themselves? Because that's heck, there's folks like Gary Vaynerchuk who like to talk about self-awareness, and folks like yeah, and then when it's all said and done, if the speech is over, they may not actually understand it. So what will probably be your way to help folks to get to that point where they can build that up within themselves?
So I think the thing is a lot of books or tools and tips out there talk about self-awareness as a mental effort. Like mindfulness, for instance, right? That's something people talk a lot about. It's something going on in our conversation for the last 50, 60 years, but certainly recently a lot. In Google, there's the whole thing, search inside yourself, and there's this mindfulness movement. And I really believe that there's more talk than the actual result of it. The reason being, not that it's not valuable, not that it's not important. In fact, it is. That's where we started the conversation. But the methodology, how you become mindful, is hard. You'll find that mindfulness avid practitioners and founders themselves will say it's a tenacious, difficult, arduous practice for quite some time. It requires discipline. You have to really stay with it to become good at it. And most people don't have the time, don't have the patience, and don't feel that they can succeed, so they give up. The simple reason is you're using your own mind to make changes in the mind. That's like a drowning man trying to save another drowning man. If something's happening, if there's a but it's true, if there's a problem in your mind, you have to step out of the mind to do something with it. If someone's drowning, you need to be at the shore and throw a life vest, or you have to be an expert in knowing how to swim. You yourself cannot be drowning in the middle of the ocean to try to save someone. And our mind, because it's in a mess, because it's not mindful, because it's not in the present moment, because it's caught up in the past, I should have and I didn't, and it's worried and anxious about the future, that we need a life vest. And the life vest, as I said, has to be something outside of the water. It's from the shoreline. And so many tools, many techniques, many books talk about self-awareness, but they're asking you to spin in your own mind. It's a mental process. It's strategy and it's regulation rather than a technique that's outside of the system. So what I offer, and what really Vedanta, that's the ancient wisdom from India, it's designed for a householder, for someone who has to succeed in the world at home and at the office, where they can use tools that are much like an exercise. So if you want to build a muscle, you don't need to think about it. You don't need to focus. You don't need to concentrate. You don't need to use mental efforts to get rid of thought or have no thought, nothing. Just pick up the dumbbell, lift it, and put it down. It's an exercise. Every time you pick up the dumbbell and you put it down, you're going to build that muscle. Similarly, your breathing. The many, many tools that Vedanta offers are exercises like the use of a breath. I don't care if you're focused on it or not. I don't care if you're monitoring your mind or not. I don't care if you're labeling and being judgment-free in your mind or not. All you have to do is lift the dumbbell, put it down, and you will make 100%, you will make a difference in your emotions and your mind. You will naturally, without a lot of effort, without a lot of mental effort, I should say, you will achieve results. You will become aware, present, and in the moment. There's so much talk about the power of now. How do we do it is another conversation. And that's what we're talking about. Tools and tips that make you shift simple ways. And again, I say to people, don't worry about it. Go try the 10-day tips and see what it does. Each day I give a new tip, or you can see it as a new exercise. And by the end of 10 days, you'll see you're more present, more alert, more aware, not just about yourself, but also people and environment around you.
That's right. That's right. She's going to help you break out that zombie curse. That's right. Yes, indeed.
Zombie curse. Do you come across a lot of people like that? You sound very energetic and enthusiastic always.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Yes.
I like your laughter. That's the best. It's the best. Contagious, it spreads it and gives the same kind of feeling of like, oh, okay, what am I bogged down with, and sense of freedom or release. Just another tip, right? Just, I don't know. They have these laughing clubs. Have you heard of that?
Huh, laughing clubs?
Yeah, there's these things called laughing clubs where a group of people literally get together. I have gone to it, maybe in a park, maybe in a home, and then they just start creating these different little exercises, and they start laughing. In a way, it's kind of like fake it till you make it idea. Laughter is our innate, natural power. You see babies, for no reason, they'll be in their little crib, they smile, there's a little joyful sort of gurgle that comes out. It's who we are. We even say to babies, right? A bundle of joy or a bundle of love, because that's our nature, innately. And so this notion of laughing is tickle yourself. Find a way to amuse yourself Fake it if you have to. Let the sound go, that sound of ha-ha. And that changes your breath. That's the thing they may not talk about, the laughing clubs, is in your laughter, what is actually changing is your breathing. You are exhaling. As much as the breath might be going in, there is a predominant exhale. And what we don't know, or many people don't know, is the secret of breath is every single time you breathe in, you energize your system. And every single time you breathe out, you release toxins, negativity, stress from your system. So laughter is another tool and tip.
Oh, yeah, another T and T. That's right. Wonderful Rajshree, that's right. She came in with the overalls and the tool belt today. Oh, that's right. She got the hard hat, too. That's right. Metaphorically speaking.
I like that. Actually, we need a hard hat, don't we? Everything goes in our head and sticks there for God knows how long. Someone says one small little thing, and we're stuck with it. They go on with their day, and we go home with them, and they're sitting, like how kids have their invisible friends like that. We have our invisible enemy. They're not even a friend. They told me this. Why did they say that? And they're sitting at the dining table. You think you're going to bed alone, and there they are in your head and in your bed with you, So maybe a hard hat is a way to deflect all that out. And I really sincerely say this, your breathing is a way to make your mind bulletproof. It's your hard hat in a way.
Ooh, I like that one right there. That's right. Breathing makes your mind bulletproof. That's right. Don't smack a cop and try that at home, kids. Don't do it. Don't actually. No. Not that bulletproof here.
I hope we don't need to say that. Yeah. I hope you don't need to say that. I really do hope that people understand what that means metaphorically, as you said.
No one's not going to actually go out and try to put that in front of a bullet.
I hope not. You said it.
Yeah, I can be on the goofy side of the game for that one.
That's good. Don't take yourself too seriously is another good one, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I do that every day. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, if I laugh at myself, don't have anyone else to give anyone else the power to do it at my expense. So, yep.
That's right. Yeah. You can only take care of yourself in the end. And then you can take care of others, right?
That's right, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's right. Advancement comes when you advance yourself first, metaphorically.
Yeah. I agree.
Yes, indeed. Well, the beautiful thing is that you have all this magical experience that has been transcending the ages because it's been passed down through ages. So if you were to wake up tomorrow and you were 25 again, but this time in the current year of 2019, what advice would you give to yourself?
I would tell myself, really jump in and do what really matters to you, because I feel like I spent a lot of time, trying to figure out what others expect of me. And at some point you realize, well, I'm going to die, and I'm going to die just like everybody else, including those who are in front of me, who are supposedly I'm trying to please or figure out what matters to them. So I would tell myself, and I tell anybody else listening out there, the only answer is go for it. Just don't give a damn about what anybody else has to say or think. What matters to you, jump in. Don't overthink it. Jump in. Start action. And when you do, the universe gets behind you and you'll figure it out, because we wait to figure it out. That's the other thing I used to do. I would want to figure it out in my head first, before I leaped in. And I guess that would be my second piece of advice. don't overthink it, because it just paralyzes the whole idea and sucks up the enthusiasm. What's your advice to yourself?
My advice to myself would be to take over the world, one mind at a time, starting with the grown-ups. Let me stop. That's not my advice.
Did you ever read that book, The Little Prince?
Little Prince. Let's see, who wrote that one?
I forget. It's Antoine. It's a French name. I forget fully, but it's entirely around this. Start with the grown-ups. What the heck happened to these grown-ups? They don't smile. They don't laugh. They don't talk to each other. All I see is they're running around all over the place, going from one place to another, and then they do it again and again. It's a charming book. It is one of my favorite books, So, and you simplified it even more with just one mind at a time. Start with the grown-ups, and that's actually my motto. Make each mind less stressed, and as a result, you change the violence and the state of the world, because violence and stress, it's the same phenomenon, right? At home, we call it everything that stress creates, everything from divorce to, challenges that happen at home with violence and so on and so forth, and what we see out there. So one mind at a time, one adult mind at a time, we can change the world. I agree.
Oh,
100%.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's right. They keep on saying get them while they're young. I'm like, you know what? Let's go with the opposite way. Let's get the grown-ups. Yeah, let's get them. They're already beaten down by life. Let's get them.
Yeah. And I
Get them
think we're
while.
beaten down because there's no end to how, the system's broken in a way, It's just more and more and more and more, and we don't quite take care of each other. It's, more consumerism. It becomes more about me.
Oh yeah, especially nowadays where you can get it even faster than ever. Anything you want, just about at, at your fingertips.
Yeah, I mean, right? Amazon, their whole big thing is order now and get it that same day. So we don't even have to wait. We don't even have to learn the patience of what it means to wait. We get instant gratification, and if you don't like it, you shove it in the box and send it back and start again. So we don't have resiliency. We don't have what it takes to go through what life throws at us, because yeah, it's true. You can get objects in a box delivered, but what do you do about your mind? You can't shove it in a box and ship it out. You're stuck with it morning, noon, and night. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
Right? You can't say I want to return this. You're stuck with it.
The closest thing is getting inside of a giant birthday cake, but the only thing is like, it ain't gonna work either.
No, it's not. But then you still have your mind and you fake it for a while. Yay, woo, happy birthday. And inside you're feeling lonely and isolated and miserable somehow. So you got to attend to the mind and your emotions. Nobody teaches us, but we have the tools and we got to address it in some way. Keep ourselves happy.
Yep, that's right. It could involve honey.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Just grab one of those little honey bears that contains the honey out of the grocery store, bounce it on your head, see what happens.
You know what? Have you ever seen those toy monkeys? The kids used to have them. I don't even know if they exist, where you wind the key in the back and the monkey plays the symbols.
Yes.
I feel like it's like that. Our mind is winding in the back constantly, and the more you wind that key, the more pressure builds in the spring, between the toy monkey and the key in the back. And if you wind it one bit too much, the whole thing snaps, right? It's like that. I feel like a lot of people are walking around winding their mind again and again and again at the verge of that final snap of the spring, and that explains what you see happening out there in the world, these crazy shootings and whatnot. And it's because we don't know how to let that key go and unwind it. It's pausing to take in a breath is as required as food and water and sleep. And nobody realizes it really.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So that's definitely a lesson for the folks listening with the headphones on. Don't wind up the key too much in the head. Give your mind a break. That's right. Give it a
Yeah.
Kit Kat if you have to.
Couple. Couple. There's always the Snickers bar also.
You read my mind, because I was going to pop out my mouth first, but you got me.
Is Kit Kat your favorite?
Man, that's like my favorite for like puns or whatever. Whenever someone says break, I have to say, it might be Twix. I think Twix is probably my favorite because of the whole caramel and the cookie at the bottom.
I like the Almond Joys, the coconut and the chocolate and the almond. I think you need to switch. Twix are old news already.
Oh, but the packages are so shiny.
They are. Well, that's the world. The packages are shiny. That's what we run after. I'm talking about getting past the packages. Where there's some nutrition, some value. You get an almond, you get coconut. It's good fatty acids. It helps your body. I'm not saying that an Almond Joy does. I'm sure there's nothing more than sugar and great taste. And I think joy and bliss above all is the best recipe for health and happiness. So Kit Kat or Almond Joy or Twix for that matter, within reason, certainly do add a quality to life. Everything in balance. That's the key.
Oh, yeah. That's right. She's bringing the Almond Joy, y'all. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Especially the joy part.
Yeah, exactly. Without the packaging.
That's right. Even though she does have a shiny smile, though, I do like that packaging.
That's a big tip. You already told me. The most powerful curve you have, it's your smile, so don't lose it. And it's gender neutral.
Oh, yeah. That's right. This has definitely been a fun conversation. I enjoy your company.
Thank you. Me too. It was wonderful. Again, please, I invite all the readers, listeners out there to join the online energy challenge. Perhaps order the book, The Power of Vital Force, where you'll find all kinds of tools and tips and techniques. And by the way, if you pre-order by October 1st of this year, October 1st, 2019, there is a 11-day energy course that is for free, which is valued, at $500 or more. So that's the other added bonus for $18, $19. You order the book and you get a full course to guide you through on how to relax and regulate and become more aware.
Oh, yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, there is an audio version. Are you reading that too?
Yeah, actually I am. It's in my voice. I did the audio. There's a Kindle version also.
Sweet. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You get to take her on the road in more ways than one, y'all. That's right. If you're scared of reading or you don't like reading and you like to listen to audiobooks, you get to take the wonderful author's voice with you. And then you get to feel the bliss.
That's great. Thank you. It's an experience recording an audio. Have you ever done that before?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know what to expect, They said, okay, we want the audio in your voice. I said, really? I said, yes. I said, okay. So I went to a studio And it's 3 days. You read basically like 7 hours, 8 hours a day, and it's very interesting because every comma, every punctuation, and the recording is so sensitive. If you breathe a little too heavy, it all shows up. It was such an interesting experience, a lot of learning, but I was very happy to, in the end, complete with that and know that there's an audio out there also.
Yep, that's right indeed. That's right. Yeah, because I did an audio for my own book, and that was it was great doing it, but it was like listening back to it, was like, oh man, like the breathing, it did catch everything. I was glad my book was
Yeah.
short.
Yeah. I haven't heard mine yet, so I'm a little. It's always odd, right, to hear your own voice or to see your own video or something like that. We're our worst critics, actually, in some ways.
Oh, you can say that again. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You can say that again.
We are our own worst critics. And the trick is to get out of our own way, then everything happens through, us.
But it's all good, though. You'll probably enjoy it. Heck, I know I'll enjoy it. Because you even got a YouTube page as well with some great content.
Yes. People can follow all my social media handles very easy. It's by B-Y, Rajshree, R-A-J-S-H-R-E-E. I think I need a new name. That's very difficult for most people to pronounce and spell and remember.
Maybe Miss Bliss.
Yeah, maybe. So, yes, please, buy Rajshree. There's a lot of material on YouTube and Facebook and so on, so people can follow me there as well.
That's right, and she gives some solid relationship advice in 10 seconds, too.
I do. Thank you so much.
How's it going, you super special, awesome human? Since you made it to the end of this episode, it looks like you really enjoyed yourself. Since you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with at least 3 people in your network and tell them what you really liked about this episode. Heck, even shoot myself or the guest an email and let them know what you liked most about this interview, so that way they can stay inspired to keep pushing out great work.